That there is, especially during football games, and so I now have the distinct pleasure of reading some of these tweets, and he will explain what they meant. Here we go. We start with this. Breeze is throwing the football like me. Not the me that played quarterback at Archbishop Shaw High School, but the me that is typing this tweet with his TV and iPad on, eating this trail mix in Lulu joggers and Ugg slippers. That me is terrible. He's got to get loose real quick. RC, explain that tweet.
Man, when Drew Brees started that thing, he looked just like I looked trying to throw to my DBs, Greeny. And actually, I was wearing these slippers and some leggings or some joggers that look just like this. So it's the same me that does get up as well, Greeny. You can't start a game that way when you're playing against Patrick Mahomes. Drew looked old. Drew looked in his 40s, very much like I am. But he did get it together. And if he got it together a little bit earlier, maybe they had a chance to win the game. But when you are beat up, when your ribs are banged up, when you are old, when you got to put your entire body into the football, you cannot look like RC sitting on his sofa. I love the trail mix. I love my joggers, and I love my Uggs. I also love my life, and that's why I'm not playing quarterback in the league. Other than the point that I never freaking could play quarterback in the league. Drew got it together late. Let's hope that he's better next week.
Okay, that's number one. Here comes number two. This one is shorter. Jalen Hurts with the gritty after running through an all-pro safeties tackle? Question mark? RC, explain that tweet.
Listen, Greeny, we talked about this early on in the week. I didn't know that Jalen Hurts was going to be this. I didn't think that he had the skill to do these things, to stand across from Kyler Murray and go toe-to-toe with over 400 yards of offense. But I am a Budda Baker fan. Budda Baker is one of my favorite players in the world. He is a thumper. He is a hitter. Jalen Hurts ran Budda Baker over. He made a decision to get in the end zone, and he wasn't going to be stopped. You heard Dan talk about them 600-pound squats. Well, look like dude is still squatting 600. Like he is still working out on the rack next to Fletcher Cox. And then afterwards, he hit the gritty. You can see it if I'm doing it, Greeny, if you was in the house, but you don't really know about this. It's the Justin Jefferson's dance, Lil Gritty. He went to school in the NO, and now it's worldwide. And so when dudes like Jalen Hurts make plays, you're going to get the dance. But when dudes like Jalen Hurts run over Budda Baker, you have to make sure it's known. He is a baller. He is Philly's guy going forward.
And then here comes tweet number 3 from RC, and it is this. Tampa Bay's offense looking like a plate of food at Dan Orlovsky's house. Ain't nothing you want going on. Bland, plain, and downright tasteless. Not 1 ounce of spice, life, or creativity in it. Just out there, just on there. For sure not doing whatever the hell they want. RC, explain that tweet.
You know, Greeny, when I watched the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I got sad. And as I was getting sad about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I thought about my friend Dan Orlovsky and what he says about the Tampa Bay offense. And then it made me think about Dan Orlovsky's spice rack that he put on Twitter. He had salt, he had pepper. The man said he used to eat mayonnaise sandwiches. Do you know what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' first half offense was? It was a mayonnaise sandwich, Greeny. Nobody eats mayonnaise. Did y'all not see Undercover Brother? You know how we know that you're on the wrong side? You eat a lot of mayonnaise. And that's what the offense was doing. And yeah, you know, Bruce Arians goes, I wonder why we didn't play well in the first half, then we played well in the second half. Because you stopped eating mayonnaise sandwich. You put a little spice on it. You got your little Tony Chachere's. You got your little crab ball. You put it all in there and you made it work. You got the ball to AB. You got the ball to Mike Evans, Leonard Fournette out of the backfield. You added some spice to that thing. Because when you started off, you were asparagus, grilled chicken, and those little balled up potatoes that Dan Orlovsky likes to put on his plate. But you only get 2 of those because it's too much carbs.
It's bad.
Tampa Bay, eat some carbs, get some spice, put some rice on it, get some pasta, get fat, win football games.
Domonique, your thoughts on Dan Orlovsky's taste in cuisine?
Oh, my gosh. Oh, yeah. So I tweeted out that picture of Dan Orlovsky's spice rack because it was so sad. When he pulled it out and took a picture of it, it was so embarrassing. It looked like, I don't know if you remember this, Greeny. This may not hit home for you, but it looked like he was a college student waiting on his Pell Grant to come through. Like, he had nothing in there. He couldn't do, it was real bad. He had that, yeah, Dan wasn't getting no Pell Grant, but he had that spice rack. It was embarrassing. It looked like that child support was on his back and he can't afford to get nothing for himself. All he can do is send that child support check. He got to eat those nasty chicken patties with a little bit of salt on. That's it. Just ramen noodles. noodles. It's really depressing. Dan, you're rich. It's okay. You can buy some nice things. It's fine. Treat yourself every now and then, please.
Okay. And that is this week's edition of Explain Your Tweets. On we go to either or. We did the NFC earlier. Let's do the AFC now. Domonique, AFC wildcard. Who you got, Dolphins or Ravens?
Oh, yeah, it's the Ravens. I love the direction the Dolphins are headed, but this Ravens last couple of games, the end of their schedule is incredibly easy. They look like the Ravens of old. It's in part because the teams that they are playing, and it's in part because Lamar Jackson is Lamar Jackson. There are questions about the health of their secondary and their defense, but I think they'll be fine in these last couple games.
Dan Graziano, the AFC South is next. Tennessee or Indy, who you got?
I'm going with the Titans because I think they're both playing great. They're both dominating people physically in the run game. I think they both have a chance to win out. And if they do win out, Tennessee has the tiebreaker, and I'm sure of it this time. I did the research.
Okay, fair enough. RC, I'm coming to you on your old team. Who's going to win the AFC North, Cleveland or Pittsburgh?
Cleveland, and I don't want to say it. I was trying to slide out of the frame. It's gonna be the Cleveland Browns, man.
Wow.
I don't see them beating the Indianapolis Colts. I don't see them beating the Cleveland Browns to finish the season. I think this team finishes the season on an 0-5 slide, and they're sitting next to us very early in the playoffs.
Wow. I know how much that hurt you to answer the question that way. Meanwhile, it brings us to my Twitter poll question of the day. Which of these three teams that all figure to get in from the AFC North do you think will be the last one standing in January? Steelers, Browns, Ravens. I threw the question out to you, and let's throw the question out to the group here. Let's see what everybody thinks, because I think it's a fascinating one. And Domonique, you are first up here. Of those three teams, which one do you think will be the last one standing in the playoffs?
Yeah, they all have tremendous holes and issues, but I think I'm going to have to go with the Ravens. I think I believe in Lamar Jackson more than any other offense out there. And I also think this defense, if they can get healthy in the secondary, they can go back to their form that they were at before and still be a problem defense. But if they don't get healthy in the secondary, then I think this team is in trouble. But I think I'm picking them more by default because the Browns, they ain't been to the playoffs since they've been back to Cleveland, and the Steelers are on a slide. And I don't even think the Steelers outplayed the Ravens when they beat them.
RC, it's a sort of a variant on the question I just asked you a moment ago. Which of the three teams do you think is the last one standing?
I mean, like, look at these teams. You know what's crazy? What's crazy, Greeny? I'm going to tell you the question I can't answer, right? Because sometimes I can't answer them all because I don't have all those answers. I know the one that's going to lose first, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh.
And that's and that's the thing I'm sure of. I don't know, because Cleveland and the Ravens can play. I don't know what's going to happen, but I don't see the Pittsburgh Steelers winning a game in the playoffs the way that they're playing. I think it's an impossibility. And I know that's something you can't say in this league because the games have to be played, but they have no offense. The defense is banged up. I just don't see this team winning another football game in 2020 and early 2021. So they'll be the first one home. Who wins out of the Baltimore Ravens and Cleveland Browns? I don't know. Maybe they both get to the second round. Maybe neither. But I know the Pittsburgh Steelers don't.
I will accept that answer. I like it. Dan Graziano, who you got going the deepest?
I was thinking it's a good thing Domonique does answer the question and not RC, right? Because, it's terrible. You got to pick somebody. I'm going with Baltimore. I think it's possible that crazy victory over the Browns a couple Monday nights ago activated them. They looked like their old terrifying selves this past weekend. And, yes, I know they're playing the Jaguars, but that's what they did last year, right? They bullied people. They won big when they could. And I think they're feeling it right now. To Dominique's point about the secondary, that gets healthy. They are a scary team. If I'm the Chiefs, I'm not scared of anybody. But I'm looking at Baltimore and I'm going, ooh, don't get too hot.
I agree. They're also the last AFC team to play Wild Card Weekend and make it to the Super Bowl. I just feel like in this incarnation of the Ravens, these last 15 or 20 years, this role suits them better. I will take Baltimore as well. I don't think that they're the team that is meant to come in 14-2 and everybody is scared of them. I think they're meant to be the team that has to sort of fight its way out of a corner and people don't see coming, and they wind up being the team that nobody wants any part of. Domonique, you're my former Raven. Agree or disagree with that? I think this role suits them.
I mean, I guess. I think that's a lot of fan mumbo jumbo, to be honest with you. I think that they'd rather get a bye in the first round and plow through teams. But
yeah.
Sure, I'm with you, Dan. I mean, I'm with you, Mike. They like being underdogs and injured and not having any healthy players and coming in and coming in with no healthy DBs. That's the Baltimore way.
For the record. Don't ever look down on mumbo jumbo. I've made a 30-year career out of it, and it's worked out really well for me. Okay, let's get back to the NBA, which began last night. In case you missed it, let me show you what you missed. Kevin Durant, welcome back. And welcome to Brooklyn and his new teammate Kyrie Irving taking on the Golden State Warriors. And this one was all Brooklyn from the jump. That is Kevin Durant with a three for his first points of this season, first points as a net. And here's his teammate Kyrie Irving with a little three ball from the corner pocket. The two of them would score 27 points in the first quarter. It's more than Golden State scored. Then it's Kyrie, 31 feet before halftime. Nets were up 18, and they would never look back. Here comes Kevin Durant on the break. He would score 22 points in just 25 minutes. Kyrie would add 26. Steve Nash, his first win as the Brooklyn coach, they would take it easily. That was the first game last night. Then the nightcap in Los Angeles. The Lakers getting their championship rings. It's number 4 for LeBron. Third quarter, the Clippers are up by 4, and the Lakers are going in transition. As Dennis Schroeder, this is LeBron James. This is liftoff a week before his 36th birthday. He scored 22 points in 28 minutes. But this was a night that would belong to Paul George. Late in the third and then into the fourth quarter, he was great. That's a tough drive to the hole and the free throw, giving the Clips a 6-point lead. And then in the fourth, this is a 4-point play from Paul George. He would score 33 on the night. His running mate Kawhi would give him 26 as he's working now on Alex Caruso. And it's the Clippers who hold on to win on opening night 116 to 109.